time now to answer some of your business questions. So let's get our board of directors in here to help us out. Alicia Surratt is the founder and CEO of Pantagrion Capital, an angel investment firm focused on seed and early stage investments. And Steve Strauss is the senior columnist at USA Today Small Business, and he is the founder and CEO of the selfemployed.com. So good to see both of you guys.
Good to see you.
Great to be here, JJ.
All right, let's go to the first question. It came in an email and it says, I am in the second trimester of my business. I now need financing for marketing and advertising. At this stage, which would be best? Crowdfunding, a microloan, or a private bank loan? We get this question pretty much every week, Alicia. So where do you think they should start?
Yeah, so I think that if you have a sense of a direct relationship with your marketing spend and the revenues it generates, then loans could be a really good thing because you have some confidence that you could easily pay those loans back and you don't have to give up equity. However, if you don't have that sense of that causal relationship, then crowdfunding could probably be a better outlet for you because the campaign itself is really an exercise in marketing and advertising. The one caveat I would say to that is that it takes a hell of a lot of work, and if you don't meet your funding goals, then you will have to return all the money. So if you do engage in crowdfunding, make sure that you can hit those goals.
You know, it's funny because people think crowdfunding is so great. You go, you put it up there, and then you get the money, and that's not the case at all. You have to tap your network and hope that it spreads. Steve, I think Alicia had a really good point, which is marketing. I mean, unless you directly know your ROI, your return on investment on your marketing, you don't know if anything's going to come of it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, of course, marketing's really important because it's how new people learn about your business. And I would say in this case, you know, if the business is in the second trimester, right, it's starting to show, it's starting to kick. And that means, you know, it's maturing a little bit. And in that case, I do think a conventional loan or a small business association, an SBA loan is probably the way to go. And that means separating, if you haven't done already, your business credit from your personal credit, getting an employee ID number from the federal government and getting a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet Credibility and setting up separate bank accounts and then going out and with your business credit, getting a business loan. And I have to agree with what Alicia was saying about crowdfunding. There is some, you know, magical thinking that goes on that if you just put up a video on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, strangers are going to fund your business. And as you mentioned, JJ, that's not the way it works. I think a more mature business will probably go in a different direction and establish credit and use that to grow their business even later on.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're going to go to get a bank loan, they're going to ask you, how are you going to pay this back?
Absolutely.
Now, if you can show there's direct marketing, right, I spend X number of dollars and I will get X number of dollars back, it's going to be much easier than saying, I'm just going to throw this out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. It's about the importance of getting social.
You hear so much about it and there's so much out there, but what is the real value of social media for marketing your company?
This is such a good question. I was on a panel with someone the other day, Steve, and he said, guess what? I don't use social media. I use email. That's where I get the best return. And so almost like what we were saying with crowdfunding, people have this impression that go on Facebook, go on Twitter, Instagram, and suddenly people are flocking, and it's not the case. But there is a value. There is a value.
It is this, I think, the $64,000 question for a lot of small business people because they hear so much. We all hear so much about social media and social media marketing, and should you do it? You know, in my USA Today column about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, when I was first writing about social media, I wrote a column about Twitter. Should you tweet? And I said, no. And it was blasphemous, right? But what was interesting was it became the most popular thing for all the wrong reasons that I ever wrote. Because what happened was the Twitterati got a hold of it and they started tweeting, yeah, this Strauss guy's an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it went viral. And that's when the light went on for me and thought, oh, there is something to it that I didn't quite get. So I do think for most small businesses, you know, the value proposition is twofold. One, it can help you brand your business if you do it consistently again and again and again. You got to really make a commitment to it as you would with any of your marketing. The second is, and this is what I learned from a woman named Ginny Dietrich. I think Ginny might even have been on your show before, JJ. And Ginny wrote me and said, you know, what social media does, it's also social networking. And what you can do with it is meet people you otherwise wouldn't normally meet and make relationships that you otherwise wouldn't normally make and therefore get new business that you otherwise wouldn't normally get. that I think is a great proposition for social media.
And I think, Alicia, too, social media is helpful if you are using it in the way that your target customers, your potential customers are using it.
Yeah.
Or else you're just throwing it out to the wind.
Yeah, no, I think that there are two big benefits that I would stress with social media. And first is very quantifiable benefits. So you could say, look, I'm going to spend this amount on social media, like a Facebook ad, and you could see very direct results from that. Users coming to your website, new visitors. And so that could be a huge benefit. But also, like Steve said...
But that's that's different, right? That is using social media platforms to advertise.
No, absolutely.
Which is different than putting out my own Facebook posts or tweeting.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember the one you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're engaged, you could potentially engage with your customers there, but if you're just posting things on a regular basis through Instagram or through Facebook or on Twitter, you're engaging with your customers on a constant basis. And that's important because you are building goodwill with them, you're reaching them where they're putting their eyeballs, and you have to keep in mind that a customer is so much more valuable to you, an ongoing customer, because you can continually sell and cross-sell products to them. It's so much harder to get a new customer. Yeah. And so if you're maintaining that relationship with them on a regular basis with social media and meeting them where they are spending their time, then that can be incredibly valuable for your brand.
Right. The real issue is, are you creating content that they want to read, that they want to engage with? And that's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, JJ, what you guys are both saying, which is you have to pick the social media platform, maybe not the one that you like, but that your customers tend to use the most. That's where you have to be.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This is for all of the consultants out there.
As a consultant, what are the must-have legal documents?
Good question. And by the way, so many people are consultants, right? They may have a business, but also do consulting on the side.
Yeah.
So how do they figure out what they need?
Yeah, so some of the big documents that come to mind are certainly an operating agreement, articles of incorporation, any specific licenses or permits that you might need for that specific business, and you certainly want to make sure you have your tax ID documented. But my caveat to all of this, and my dad, who's a lawyer, would kill me if I didn't say this, is that you should always make sure that you get great legal counsel and not be penny wise and pound foolish, because the legal documents you might need could vary depending on what kind of corporation you have set up, whether it's a C Corp, what state you're in, what specific business you're in. So really do your homework.
So Steve, how do you find the right person to help you figure out what documents you need?
Well, I agree. You do need to speak with a lawyer. There are times you can do it yourself, and there are times not to do it yourself. And when you're getting started and you're trying to figure out how to set the foundation of your business up, is not the time to do it yourself. You really need to meet with a lawyer and find out. And I agree, you have to incorporate, so you need articles of incorporation. You might want to have an employee or an employment agreement with people that you're working with. You want to make sure that they're probably at-will employees, it's called. And I would think, especially for a consultant, a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA might be a really important document you want to have as well.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for answering all of these questions. Very, very helpful.